Hello there everybody, my name is Aiden and welcome back to another video. Ladies and gentlemen, throughout the day, checking the score for this game against the San Antonio Spurs, I honestly ruled the Bulls out for most of that game. The second and third quarters, I just thought the Spurs were going to kind of run away with the game. But for whatever reason, however it happened, the Bulls walked away with a victory. Last time we faced the Spurs, there was no Victor Wembanyama. And you know what? I understood what we were trying to do in that game. We attacked the paint. We took advantage of the 7'5" or however tall he is guy not being there to, block shots and whatever. And today there was Victor Wembanyama. So, the points in the paint, I guess, was probably not necessarily the most go-to spot for the Chicago Bulls. I mean, we could take a look at the team stats a little bit later on, but in the end, we walked away with a victory. How did it happen, ladies and gentlemen? Well, we'll discuss that in this video. Fun fact, we destroyed them in points in the paint, so what the heck do I know? Before we get any further, if you like the video and you want to see more from me, drop a like, drop a follow, and or subscribe if you are new, and let me know in the comments below your thoughts about the Bulls, their game today, and your player of the game as we win this one 114 to 110. Now, team stats wise, I actually think this is a little bit of a better performance than what I would normally say for the Bulls. Because, again, when we're shooting 63s, that's a bit too much. When you manage to get your way into the 40s or the 45 range, I think that's where the Bulls should be. All in all, that's what the Spurs were in at the end of the day. They took 46 threes. The Bulls only took 39 threes in this game. Made 13 of them, which is about 33%. Not the end of the world. Still would like to see a little bit of a better conversion rate, but nonetheless, I would say for the first half of the game, the Bulls weren't great. And even in the third quarter, the Bulls weren't amazing. What really got the Bulls this victory today was the Spurs having a complete meltdown in the fourth quarter. I mean, let's take a look at the overview, let's say. I guess that's what it's called here on Safari. The Spurs scored 15 points in the fourth quarter to the Bulls' 32. And the Bulls had a really bad first quarter with 20 points, but outside of that, they weren't terrible. So again, the Spurs choked, collapsed, fumbled the bag, if you would like to put it in that way as well. And the Bulls kind of just carried the momentum over. And you know what? I'm not surprised that the Bulls managed to come back. If you guys remember earlier on in the season, that's exactly what the Bulls like to do. They were down by 20, 30 points in games, and they would come back. Or maybe 30 is a bit of a stretch, but 20, 17, I think one of them was 16. These type of ranges, we were able to come back from them. It wasn't too far away from that range against the Spurs as well, and we were able to push our way back into the game. And the Bulls, normally, more times than not, play well in the fourth quarter. I know there are some exceptions, but more times than not, we do deliver in the fourth quarter. We have experience from last season to this season in the fourth quarter. Guys like Kobe White, who had a mean posterizer against Wemby. I know that is what everybody's going to talk about from this game. It's one of the highlights of the season for sure. But let's be honest, Wemby was, when he was out there, he was deterring shots like no tomorrow. He's obviously a very, very key rim protector for the Spurs, even though we did crush them in points in the paint. Regardless, guys like Kobe White knows how to play in the fourth. Zach LaVine knows how to play in that fourth. Vucevic knows how to play in the fourth. All in all, when you're in a situation last season when you're playing so many clutch games, at the end of the day, you do kind of get used to that situation. And in the end, maybe that's an experience that a lot of the San Antonio Spurs players don't have as much of. Because, they weren't in the most clutchest games in the league last year. Wemby probably hasn't played as many clutch games as a Zach LaVine per se or a Kobe White per se. So the experience probably needs to still come for the Spurs. And by no means am I saying that it's a bad thing. Again, the Spurs have a better record than the Bulls, and they're doing okay for a team that probably wasn't expected to do much this season. All in all, I just think the Bulls kind of handled that situation better, and in the end, that's how we walked away with a win. The Spurs kind of choked it, and the Bulls picked it up. The Spurs dropped the ball, the Bulls picked it up. It's kind of that type of situation. So you got to give respect to the Bulls where it's due at the end of the day. Handling clutch situations is not for every team. Some teams handle it better than others. I would say we're one of the better teams at handling those type of situations. With that being said, this was definitely a starters-filled game, for sure. for the Bulls. I think our bench, our bench wasn't terrible, but it wasn't great either. The starters they stole the show here for the Bulls. Zach LaVine with a near triple-double, 35 points, 8 assists, and 10 rebounds on the night. Patrick Williams coming in with a double-digit game with 12 points. Vucevic with a double-double, 24 points, and 11 rebounds in the game. Kobe White, 23 points, 4 assists, 2 rebounds on the night, and again, a mean posterizer that will be remembered for the rest of the season. Probably will be remembered for Kobe White's career. I think it's probably his best dunk he's ever had. Josh Giddey, 6 points and 7 rebounds. Lonzo, 5 points and 4 rebounds. Jalen Smith with 9 points and 8 rebounds. Made some big threes in that game as well. So again, it wasn't a game where we, shocked the world with our scoring ability. It wasn't a game where we stunned our audience per se. But it's a win at home. The crowd got excited. It was a great way to end the game as well. And we win. We move on to the next one. I know many people might be saying we don't need to win now. Some people are saying we should absolutely be trying to win to push for that playoff situation. Look, I'm going to leave that up to you. It's not my choice to kind of tell you what to believe, what you want to see and whatnot. Look, every game, I'm kind of approaching it one game at a time. And at the end of the day, I want this Bulls team to improve. I'm not necessarily saying I want them to win every single game they play. I kind of don't like them losing, in all honesty, either. But I just want improvements. I want genuine improvements. When I speak about the Bulls being the worst defensive team in the league, I want to see genuine improvements. And for the most part, we are getting those type of improvements every now and then. When I'm talking about the Bulls choking in games, I want to see genuine improvements. When I talk about the Bulls having a bad mentality, I want genuine improvements. Because at the end of the day, this team is young. This team might have potential to go somewhere in the future. Maybe Vucevic and LaVine aren't part of that conversation. I don't know. But just because they're here now doesn't mean we should be focusing on the development of guys like Kobe and Ayo and Giddey and Patrick Williams and Matas Bazelis. The young guys in this team still have to learn. We can't just stop the learning process and have them lose every game just so we can get the next pick or just so we can, do what we need to do in the draft. If that happens, that's fine. And you know what? I'd rather get the pick than make the playoffs. I really am in that boat. But I'm also in the boat of these guys need to learn. So when they have bad things or when they switch off in certain ways, they have to learn from that. I'm more on board of learning than anything else for this specific team and for these specific group of players who we're probably going to be running with for the future, at least the younger ones. So they got to learn. And ultimately, I'm excited to see where that takes them. Whether we win or lose, it is what it is. But with that being said, enough about, what the Bulls' future may be. Again, we're 17-19 right now. We are close to 500. We're pretty much in the exact same situation we were last year. I think last year we might have even had a worse record at this stage in the Bulls season. And this is with no DeMar DeRozan or no Alex Caruso. This team has done a complete 180 offensively and in the end has actually helped them win more games than I personally expected them at this point in the season. I hate to say I told you so because I predicted the Bulls would have a good start. We're getting close to the halfway point and they've kept it up for the most part. So I can't even complain in that situation. So yeah, we'll see what happens in the future. We'll see what type of moves they make and where they go. Ultimately, the Bulls have a big decision to make. We're heading to the halfway point. What now? Now we're kind of stuck with the same question we were last year. What direction do they go down now? Do they go down the younger route and trade LaVine for picks, trade Vucevic for picks if they can, and try to go younger? Or do they actually now think this team is young enough? They've got young players, young cornerstone guys. I personally don't think so, but they might believe that. Let's go and get more. Let's go and get someone that can really take us over the line. I don't know. I can't believe we're in this situation again. We'll see if they do anything, or even worse, if they do nothing. Thank you for watching. My player of the game, Zach LaVine, pretty standard, near triple-double. You're always going to get it from me. I'll see you guys in the next one. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay tuned for more. Take care, and peace.